Greetings YouTubers and welcome to my 22nd TTM video. Today I will share with you 2 purchases that I got back and 5 TTMs through the mail. First I want to share a return I got from a legendary TTMer, and that's Mr. Charlie Trippi. And this is a photo I sent him playing at the University of Georgia, and I sent the $5 there to which is usually a fee he gets. But I got a note back from his daughter, and it said, "Due to Dad's declining health, in a recent fall that fractured his shoulder, he no longer is able to sign autographs. On his behalf, I apologize." And it says Brenda Trippi, and I can't make out that last name. I'm sorry about that, but she doesn't have anything to apologize for. He was a great TTMer. I do hope he gets better. Hope that shoulder heals, and I hope he does better and gets well, because he was a great TTMer. He should be in the TTM Hall of Fame in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. First city that just popped into my head, so that's why I said Pittsburgh. Could be anywhere, but that was the first one. Now, the first purchase I got back was to add to my Hall of Fame postcard collection for baseball, and that is Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins right there. Ferguson Arthur Jenkins, better known as Fergie, 77 years old, born in December 1942 in Chatham, Canada, in Ontario Province. As a youngster, he liked track and field, ice hockey, and basketball. Those were his favorite sports. He honed his pitching skills, however, by throwing coal from a local coal yard, I should say, either through an open ice chute or through passing boxcars of trains that would go by. So that was an interesting way to do it. In 1962, he was signed by the Philadelphia Phillies. He would play and make his major league debut at 22 in 1965 as a relief pitcher. Played from 1965 to 83. Played with the Phillies, but mostly played with the Cubs. First from 1966 to 73, and then from 1982 to 83. And then played with the Rangers on 2 separate occasions, and also the Boston Red Sox. 3 times he was an All-Star. In 1971, he was a National League Cy Young winner, twice led the NL in wins, and in 1969 led the National League in strikeouts. From 1967 to 69, during the off-season, he played basketball with the Harlem Globetrotters. He's a member of the Texas Rangers Hall of Fame. In 1991, he was elected on his 3rd try to the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was the first Canadian elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. Larry Walker is now number 2. He finished with 284 wins, a 3.34 ERA, and 3,192 strikeouts. 3,192 strikeouts, so it's quite a bit. Good card to add to the old collection there. I usually get my purchases either from eBay or on Facebook groups. Second one, another Hall of Famer on the postcard here, Mr. Carl Hubbell. Carl Owen Hubbell, born in 1903 in Carthage, Missouri. Passed away in 1988 at the age of 85. Was nicknamed King Carl. Played baseball from 1928 to 1943. A long career. Played it entirely with the New York Giants. He was originally signed by the Detroit Tigers, but their pitching coach George McBride and their player manager Ty Cobb were not impressed by him during spring training, so they sent him to the minors. They were also concerned about his screwball. They felt it was really going to have an effect on his arm and not in a positive way. And eventually he was released by Detroit and was out of professional baseball pitching, in like semi-pros, when a scout from the New York Giants just happened to be in Houston where he was playing. He was not going to scout anybody. He was just there for the 1928 Democratic National Convention, saw him and signed him. And his career took off from there. Made the All-Star team 9 times, won the World Series in 1933, 2-time NL MVP, 3-time National League wins leader. He also led the National League in strikeouts. Pitched a no-hitter on May 8th, 1929 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. But one of the most famous, days happened in 1934 at the All-Star Game in the Polo Grounds in New York City where he played. In that game, he struck out 5 straight future Hall of Famers in a row, Babe Ruth, then Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Al Simmons, and Joe Cronin. He had 253 wins in his career, 2.98 ERA, 1,677 Ks. Was elected to the Hall of Fame in 1947 on his third try as well. So, got Carl Hubble to add to the old collection there. Happy about that. Now, my first TTM. This was 9 days. There was no fee with this one. Came all the way from Illinois. It's an 8x10. Former Chicago Bear, Mr. Matt Suey. Pull it in maybe a little better. Get that glare off there. Don't worry about that. There's Matt Suey scoring a touchdown in the Super Bowl 20, when they beat the Patriots that year. Matthew Jerome Suey, 62, born in July 1958 in Pennsylvania. He attended Penn State. In the 1980 NFL Draft, was picked in the second round as the 46th pick by the Chicago Bears. Played his entire career with the Bears from 1980 to 89. 148 games he played in, started 100, had 2,946 rushing yards and 20 touchdowns. Won the Super Bowl 20, a big win as they routed the New England Patriots, and there he is, scoring a touchdown. He's a good friend of Walter Payton, guy he did a lot of blocking for. One of the 100 greatest Bears of all time, and made the Pennsylvania Football All-Century team, so pretty good. And again, this was 9 days, no fee. Came back from the great state of Illinois. He was also kind enough to sign my letter there. He said, thanks for the nice note, all the best. So I got 2 out of that, I guess you'd say. This next one came from Georgia. Took 7 days. There was no fee whatsoever with it. Get out of the envelope here. And this gentleman signed both my cards. And he also signed the index card as well. And that's former Atlanta Falcons safety Ray Brown. There's the 2 cards he signed there, 75 and 76. And even was kind enough to sign the old index card there on the side. And he also signed my note as well. Just says, right there, thank you, Ray Brown. So that was nice. Got a bunch out of that. Raymond Madison Brown, well, he's 62, born in January 1949 in Fort Worth, Texas. Went to West Texas State. In 1971, in the NFL Draft, was selected in the 6th round with the 148th pick by the Falcons. Played most of his career with Atlanta from 1971 to 77. And then finished up with the New Orleans Saints in 1978 to 80. Had 38 career interceptions, 657 return yards, and 2 touchdowns in his career. But again, 7 days, no fee. Out of Georgia again. Signed the index card for me. Very nice. And both of the cards there. And also with the letter. So, got 2 guys who both signed the letter for me, which is great. The third one, TTM, I got here, it came from Michigan, and this took 7 days. There was no fee. He signed 2, didn't sign the index card, but that's former NBA player, Mr. Archie Clark. Signed him as a member of the Sonics and the Bullets. 2 names that don't exist anymore. Archie L. Clark is 79, born in July 1941 in Conway, Arkansas, although he grew up in Michigan. After high school, he joined the United States Army, and while he was playing in an intramural game at Andrews Air Force Base, was discovered by a scout from the University of Minnesota. Soon after that, he accepted a scholarship to play at Minnesota, and in his senior year in 1966, it was all Big Ten. In the NBA draft that year, in 1966, he was selected in the 4th round with the 37th pick by the Los Angeles Lakers. He played his career from 1966 to 76 as a guard. Played for the Lakers, the 76ers, the Baltimore, and then also known as the Capitol Bullets. And then played for the Seattle Supersonics and Detroit Pistons. Twice he was an All-Star, 1968 and again in 1972. He was one of the first effective practitioners of the crossover dribble, which inspired his nickname Shake and Bake. In 1987, he ran for mayor of Ecorse, Michigan. Didn't win. But he also co-founded the NBA Retired Players Association with Dave DeBuscher, Dave Bing, and Oscar Robertson. He had 11,819 points in his career, about 16.3 a game, 2,427 rebounds, about 3.3 a game, and 3,498 assists, about 4.8 a game. So again, Archie Clark, 7 days, no fee out of Michigan there. Came out really well, both those cards. Number 4 came from, I believe it's Boston. There was no postmark on it, but I'm assuming I mailed it to him in Boston. I mean, not Boston, Massachusetts, I should say. So I mailed it up to him up there. Signed 3 cards, and that is former Red Sox catcher Bob Montgomery. Signed the old 1979 Topps. Signed the 1975 Topps. And then signed the 1976 Topps. Get them all in there. All right, Bobby. This took 12 days. There was no fee. Robert Everett Bob Montgomery is 76, born in April 1944 in Nashville, Tennessee. He's in the volunteer state there. After graduation from high school, he was signed by the Boston Red Sox. Played in the major leagues from 1970 to 1979. Played his entire career with the Boston Red Sox. Hit .258, 23 homers, and 158 RBIs in his career. Now, in 1971, a rule was made that stated ball players had to wear helmets. Couldn't wear a hat anymore at bat. This guy was the last player to bat without a helmet because he was grandfathered in to the clause, so he could play without a helmet. I think he reinforced his hat a little bit, but he still wore a hat. I remember that as a kid when we used to get Red Sox games on cable, WSBK from Boston. He was also a broadcaster with the Red Sox from 1982 to 1995 on old WSBK. So again, this was 12 days. There was no fee. Bob Montgomery there signed all 3, so I thank him. The final one is a baseball. Came from California. Took 15 days, and it was $25 I provided. This guy's on Pass Pros. I think it's like $50, and that's without the inscriptions. So I figured, well, I'll send 25 and hopefully he'll sign it, and he did. And that's Mr. Steve Garvey. Signed this ball right there. Steve Garvey, number 6. I asked him to put one inscription on. I asked him to put him on 1974, 1978 All-Star Game MVP. You can't really see that up there. If I can get this darn thing off, show it to you a little better. There we go. And right on top there, he signed that. What I asked for. And then he put down his own. He put down 1981 World Series champs right there. And on the bottom, he put 1974 NL MVP. So $25 was a lot cheaper than Pass Pros. I can say that for sure. Stephen Patrick Garvey, Steve, as he's known, was born in Tampa, Florida, December 1948. So he's 71 right now. Growing up in Tampa, he was a bat boy during spring training for the Brooklyn Dodgers, the New York Yankees, and the Detroit Tigers. He went on to play football in college at Michigan State. He was a defensive back. His first at-bat in a college uniform for Michigan State's baseball team was a grand slam. Can't do any better than that, can you? In the 1968 Major League Baseball draft, he was selected in the first round by the Los Angeles Dodgers. Played his career from 1969 to 87, mostly with the Dodgers and then with the San Diego Padres. He made his major league debut on September 1st, 1969. He was 20. He started out at third base, but then when Wes Parker, the first baseman, retired, he moved across the diamond. Played one of the most famous infields in baseball history for the Dodgers. Ron Cey at third, Bill Russell at short, Davey Lopes at second, and he was the first baseman. He's one of only 2 players to start an All-Star game as a write-in candidate in 1974. The other one was Rico Cardi back in 1970 in Cincinnati. He also won the All-Star Game MVP that year, as I asked him to put that on there, and he won it again in 1978 in San Diego. Steve Garvey hit .294 for his career, 272 homers, 1,308 RBIs, and 2,599 hits. He's a 10-time All-Star, won a World Series in 1981, although he played in the World Series in 1974 when the Dodgers lost to Oakland, 1977 and 78 when the Dodgers lost to the Yankees, and 1984 when the Padres, which he was on, lost to the Tigers. So he was in the postseason quite a bit. 2 times he was the National League NLCS MVP, 1978, 1984. 4 times was a Gold Glover, outside of being league MVP in 1974 as well. He had an NL record 1,207 straight games played from 1975 to 83. What ended it? Collision at home plate against the Braves when he broke his thumb. Why this guy is in the Hall of Fame, I don't know. He should be. He should be. He's a member of the Irish American Hall of Fame, the Michigan State University Hall of Fame, and the Dodgers Hall of Fame. But again, this was 15 days. I did make a donation at $25. So, well worth it, because he added more than I asked for, and I thank him for that. He was one of my favorite players as a kid. Him and Dave Winfield were the 2 players I liked a lot. Well, I want to thank everybody for watching. If you are new to the channel here, if you'd like to subscribe, please do. And leave a comment if you like. Always like hearing from folks, like responding to the comments as best I can. A lot of good people out there. I hope everybody is staying safe. And again, if you need any addresses or anything, of anybody that I have, I'd be certainly happy to share it with you. So again, stay safe, as I always say, and good night, Virginia.